Hello and welcome back to Suspended Fanimation. I'm your host, Dennis Patholkas, and it's time for Saturday morning blast off. Welcome, everybody. And yes, it looks like Morris is looking forward to that Titans poster. I'm pretty sure I haven't heard anything from Hannah Ford as of yet. Uh, for those of you wondering what the hell I'm talking about, there was the Titans contest where someone could win the Titans poster, and Morks really wanted it. He really did. So I haven't heard anything back from Hannah Ford yet. She is the winner, and she just needs to email me with her address. Otherwise, it's going to Morks, who's the runner up. And Sven, you need to get me your address too, because I got something for you as well, even though you didn't get picked. So, welcome everybody. Let me get a little bit of business out of the way first. If you like what you see here, like, share, and subscribe. You can see it down there. Also, if you want to know when I'm going to be on live again next, you can hit the bell down below. The bell is not a guarantee that they're going to notify you that I'm on. So you can go to suspendedfanimation.com, take a look at the schedule up there, and then I've also put it on my Facebook page as well. So that is up there as well. And speaking of Facebook, there's a Facebook group page, which you guys can post stuff on, talk amongst yourselves, all that kind of stuff. I've got a Twitter, I've got an Instagram, and I've also got a Patreon page, but I don't have any tiers set up as of yet. Well, at the end of this year, beginning of next year. So that's it for the plugging. Uh, how's everyone doing this morning? So I'm a little bit earlier today because I'm going to a barbecue and beer fest, as I said last night. And of course, because it's a barbecue and beer fest, the rain has come back, and it's rain or shine. And quite honestly, the ticket was, a substantial amount of money where I could just not walk away from it. If it was like $10, I would say, yeah, screw it. But it was more than that. All right. What do I have coming up here? So this week was kind of a weird week again. Week after Thanksgiving, they've released they excuse me. They being Hollywood has released a whole bunch of trailers, things like that. Not a lot of news per se, so it might be a fast one. Who knows? So I'm gonna do some of the lesser news before people come in, and get a chance for people to come in if they haven't heard as of yet. So Ghostbusters 2020, the sequel that is in the works, has been officially titled Ghostbusters Afterlife, and there's been some a poster that's come out, some photos, but the trailer itself comes out on Monday. And we'll see what's going on there. I think it's Ivan Reitman's kid who's doing this, so we'll see where we are. Penn says, I think you've convinced me to track down some barbecue. I'll pass on the beer, hard cider instead. They do have hard cider there too, Penn. So it's called the Barbecue and Beer Fest, is what it is. So there's all kinds of drinks that are there. Yeah. They're still doing Ghostbusters. I thought they gave up on. Nope. They're doing that. The trailer comes out on Monday. Viking bitch. Yes, it does. Um, Yeah, Stanley, if you haven't been here, Penn has been doing an awesome job as a moderator, unlike some others. I got to give him shit every now and then, keeps them on their toes. Mork says, "Yeah, but this Ghostbusters looks good." I haven't seen anything, Morks, other than a car. That's all I've seen. So I couldn't tell you if it's good or bad. You keep showing me nostalgia for a car. That's great. But, quite honestly, down here in San Diego, we have a group that, dresses up as Ghostbusters. They have the Ecto One, all that stuff. They show up at events and stuff like that. So I see that shit all the time. You need to do a little bit more than just show me a beat up old, Ecto One to get me to go and see your movie. Really. Just watched the Movies That Made Us episode about Ghostbusters on Netflix half an hour ago. Huh, interesting. Yeah. I was busy in my love nest. Is that what you're saying? Is that what you're calling it, Viking bitch? I would say wash the sheets. That's all I'm gonna say. That would be my advice. Then that does become a love nest, you know. All right, so on to the big news. Why not? Um, so you may have heard of this phenomena called Baby Yoda, Boda, as we're calling him here, and there's, of course, people are just going nuts for Baby Yoda. Of course, he's a cute little bugger. He, uses the Force, all that kind of stuff, and he's probably one of the best things that we've seen in Star Wars in a while. And people are just going ape shit crazy. And so much so, in fact, that people want to know because we're nearing Christmas here, as you can tell from the Advent calendar behind me. And there's no Baby Yodas in sight anywhere to be bought, except for Funko. Funko was able to kind of roll around and do a Funko Pop, but people want like a plushie and all that kind of stuff. And Disney's not going to have that on tap until March of next year, I believe is what it is. They've gone into business with Mattel. They do have a full life size plushie. It looks more plastic. I don't know. The head does, and it's in what the animation world and calls a T pose. The T pose is when you have your characters with their arms out or loosely to the side like that. If you take a look at my thumbnail, I actually took the little plushie and stuck it on there. Yeah, and that one, I'm sorry that the Mattel one looks fugly. Not to mention that it's coming out in March. And I don't know if this craze is going to last until March, to tell you the truth. So why did it take so long for them to get the toys up and running? Well, it has to do with secrecy. They did not want this, they didn't want Baby Yoda leaked out. So they didn't contact any of their toy manufacturers. Um, they didn't tell anybody about this. They just said, "Hey, we're gonna have a toy for you, an idea for a toy. We just can't tell you about it right now, but kind of get ready." And that was the reason why. As it is, Rian Johnson, being the fucktard that he is, he ended up ruining season two a bit by releasing a spoiler of something that he saw on set. So yeah, and that was for an official interview too, and he ruined the Mandalorian, and yet that fucker wants to direct an episode, even though he can't keep his fucking mouth shut. So anyway, yeah. Hey, Mr. Roboto. So yeah, it's that was the reason why you don't have anything going on for Christmas is because they wanted to be kept secret, and they did. They kept it secret fairly very well, and so much so, like I said, yeah, there's some that are coming out on Etsy and stuff like that, but they're like 140, $150 a pop. That's too damn expensive for a toy that it's going to be. It's at the high crust right now of popularity, and it's going to go down from there. Yeah. I thought that No Baby Yoda was because of lack of faith in the TV show, but secrecy makes more sense. Yeah, it's secrecy more because it wasn't because of lack of faith in the TV show. I mean, come on, it had Favreau in there, Filoni. Yeah, it's if anything, the person who wants the show gone sits higher up, and her name is Kathleen Kennedy because it's overshadowing the movie right now. Um, Yeah. And speaking of the movie, I guess in episode 7, or excuse me, chapter 7 of The Mandalorian, they're going to have a sneak peek at episode 9. Yeah. I don't think anyone's really going to care, to tell you the truth, because that is the day that episode 9 comes out. So for those people that are already going to go and see it, they're already in the theater. They are not going to be watching a sneak peek of the movie. Yeah. Yeah, I agree with you, Viking Mitch. They would have made a shit ton of cash on that Baby Yoda merch. But, I'm fairly sure Kevin Feige might have had his hand in there too, to tell, Bob Iger, "No, no, no, this is the way it needs to be. Yes, we're gonna lose out on a lot of money, but in the back end, we're gonna get a lot of money later on." So, yeah. Oh, it's chapter 7, 2 days it's on a Friday, though. Um which is what is that? The 6th? Yeah, it's the 19th. Oh, wait, that's right. It comes out on the 20th. Whatever. I honestly don't care to tell you the truth. Yeah. So it's not something I'm gonna go and see. Yeah, that's what I thought, the 20th. Excuse me. I don't know why my throat's all like messed up all of a sudden. I was fine earlier. As soon as the camera came on, that's when it started up. See you, Mr. Roboto. Yeah, yeah, it's supposed to be coming out on the 20th, and The Mandalorian gets released. Episode 7 or chapter 7 gets released on the 20th as well. Yeah. No, it comes out on a Friday, same time. Yeah, I don't know. I don't care. So I'm not gonna quibble about times. Basically, it's coming out on episode 7. They're gonna have a sneak peek at chapter 9. There you go. So, and the other thing that was kind of funny is I was reading as I was walking Pepper, I was looking at my phone and I saw that Daisy Ridley, um, what's his name? The guy who plays Poe and the other guy who plays Finn. They're all done essentially with Star Wars after this movie is done. And they're like, I don't see where we can take it anymore. And it's like, yeah, of course. I mean, the way the article was worded is like they were kind of shitting on Star Wars, and that was the way it was worded. Instead of these are actors that have spent almost 10 years on these three movies, and they want to move on in their careers instead of just one. It's kind of like Daniel Craig moving on from James Bond. Yeah, he's been doing it for a while. He fucked up his ankle pretty greatly to the point where he needed surgery. And yes, this is his last outing as James Bond, the No Time to Die movie, because you want to move on and do something else. Hey, Sven, you made it. Send me your email address, or not your email address, Sven. Send me your mailing address because I got something for you. So, does anyone know why Amazon kept claiming copyright strikes on YouTube videos of The Boys season 2 trailer? Derek Robertson even shared one that was deleted within an hour. Oh, probably because it got leaked. Is what happened. I think they had I think there was something that got out before it was supposed to. That's usually the case. So I didn't even go back and check the one of if the one that I picked, put up had been taken down or not, because I had a link to it. Oh, and you don't see it here, but on the microphone is a little Loki. That was in the advent calendar there. He's sitting on my microphone. There we go. Oopsie. All right. I had him balanced there, but not anymore. What else have I got going on here? So also, Disney has a new Planet of the Apes movie in the works with the dude who made the Maze Runner trilogy at the helm of this. And I know dude is very descriptive, but his name is Wes Ball, is his name. And yes, they are doing a new Planet of the Apes because remember, Disney now owns Fox and their entire library. That's right. So that is what they're doing. They're redoing Planet of the Apes because third time's the charm. Oh man. Really. Um they broke down the trailer of The Boys. Interesting. Um what else we got here? Excuse me. Yes, they are rebooting it already, Stanley, because Disney wants to have it their way. They don't want to do it Fox's way. And let's face it, the Matt Reeves movies were okay. They were they weren't great. If you ever read the original French book that Planet of the Apes is based on, it's it's a little bit different. Um, yeah, it's kind of a weird book. It's very French, let's just say, but it's a very different book than the movies have been, and it's hard to do. Viking Bitches, I had a Hulu subscription for a long time. Then they signed me up to Hulu plus live TV without my permission and charged me $58. Wow, wow. Is the bull? I don't know what the bull is. Pen. I know it's a typo, but I'm trying to figure out what it is. You have to take the cake, Stanley. All right. Uh, yeah. So, yeah, they're rebooting it. It needs to be rebooted. Oh, is the bill worth my time? For what? Pen. The bill for. Oh, you're just Mark's the same bill. I don't know. Oh, is the book worth your time? Yes. The book's interesting. I mean, it's sci-fi. It's old sci-fi. It's kind of if you ever read classic sci-fi is a lot better than some of the shit that we get now. I highly recommend people read if you can find it, Alfred Bester. Now, people were wondering who the fuck is Alfred Bester? Well, if you're a comic book fan, Alfred Bester is best remembered for the Green Lantern Ring Oath. He's the one who wrote that. But he's also was an accomplished sci-fi writer for his time as well. And has some great books, some great stories out there who rivaled he actually inspired Philip K. Dick as well. So yeah, but the French version, the Planet of the Apes book is good. It's interesting. It's a different take. I think Dark Horse Comics tried doing a adaptation of it. Um, I can't remember what it is. Pen. If you just type up, if you just Google, book that Planet of the Apes is based on, it comes up. Yes, that's exactly who Bester in Babylon 5 was named after. Exactly. The character Bester in Babylon 5 was named after Alfred Bester. Um, there's I mean Harry Harrison. Uh I'm trying to think now and I can't all of a sudden my brain is going out. Alec Effinger, um, you know, there's a whole bunch of a slew of people that this I would say millennials have not tapped into because they're reading YA stuff that is written by committee. And yes, I'm sorry to tell you, but a lot of those YA books, the YA series, are written by committees. And then they have a face that is plastered on there as the person who supposedly wrote the book, but actually it's not. Sorry to tell you that. Oh, no, Pen, I had actually gotten a digital copy of that book. So it's on probably an abandoned fire tablet someplace around here. I know it's in my Amazon Kindle queue. I know I'm sounding old and crotchety and more so with my voice kind of doing as it is right now. But yeah, I highly recommend people going back and reading old sci-fi stuff. I mean, yeah. What? YA is all a conspiracy? Good thing I don't go for YA. Yeah. The Simpsons did a great episode on it. God, I think it was about 10 years ago now, where Lisa's trying to write a book. She's trying to write a YA book and it's not working. And Bart and Homer end up getting together with a group of people like Principal Skinner, Willie, and there's like 5 or 6 people in town, and also Neil Gaiman. And they end up writing a book series that they end up getting published, and they end up using Lisa as the face of it. But of course, Neil Gaiman steals it all. which is a great episode. But it shows you actually they kind of just completely outed that entire uh, work group for the most part. What about Daughter of Smoke and Bone? Uh, yeah. All right. Let's see what else I got here. Um, oh yeah, Lock and Key. Damn it. Sorry. Lock and Key, the comic book, has now actually been made into a series over at Netflix and has finally got a goddamn release date. This thing has been in production, I don't know now. I want to say it's been 10 years. It may be more, but they finally got a release date of February 7th, 2020 on Netflix. That's when the series gets released. It's actually going to be a series, not a movie. Yes, I am going to be covering it because Lock and Key is actually a pretty damn good book. Wow. La Planète des Signes. I'm going to, of course, there we go. 1963 novel by Pierre Boulet. That is the correct one. Thanks, Sven. Yes. Uh, Good book. Like I said, it's fairly short. Yeah. You're gonna say Lock and Key is dead on season one. Is that what you're saying, Morks? With an E, Lock with an E, pen. So Locke, and then Key. Yeah, there we go. Thanks, Stanley. Yes, it's very surreal, but at the same time grounded as well. Uh, it's a pretty good book. But yes, I will be covering that in February when that comes out. Damn. And of course, I didn't make any tea this morning, so that's why my voice is all shot to hell. So I brought up my book here to take a look at it real quick, and um, of course, Project Blue Book is coming out January 21st. The Witcher is coming out on December 20th. Lost in Space. So we got a new um, trailer to Lost in Space season 2, and it's coming out on Christmas Eve. Yes, I am going to be covering it because, quite honestly, that first season is pretty damn good. I have to admit. The first season of Lost in Space was good, and the way it looks, the second season, it looks like they actually got some money dropped into them, so they can do some good special effects, some proper stuff, and the fact they used Iggy Pop's "The Passenger" was pretty damn good. I'm not dropping Project Blue Book. You don't have to watch it. That's the whole thing. I like it. You have your own problems there, Marks. Yeah, yeah. Netflix is dropping a whole bunch of shit. You can tell they are scared by Disney Plus right now. They are freaking out. So I've heard in the first 5 days alone, Disney Plus has racked up 15 million subscribers. Now, it's not as much as Netflix has, but it's still pretty damn good at 15 million subscribers. And yes, damn. And yes, that is, probably a drop in the bucket for Netflix, but still to do that in 5 days, yeah, that's gonna be really, really damn hard. They're really gonna expand on those numbers, I should say. Yeah. If they haven't dropped, they cannot be blue. Oh, there we go. I see what you're doing there, Stanley. So what else do I have? Oh, so May 1st, 2020, Black Widow hits theaters, and we really got a trailer released finally on this. Um, and Red Guardian looks damn funny with the dad bod and everything, trying to squeeze into his suit. And I'm interested to see this take on it because I guess we're going to be going just before Infinity War. I guess is what it was. Is when this takes place, and or maybe it's even before the snap. Who knows? So we have Natasha running around London, or not London, Russia, of course, trying to rediscover something about her past. And we find her sister, is what we've seen in the trailer. So I'm interested in that. D plus meant by digital copies of Marvel and Star Wars obsolete. True, Sven, but you know what? No, they didn't really, because the version of Star Wars Episode 4 is called the McClunky version because it's so the original trilogy got remade again by Lucas when he was going to do a 3D release of it. He had remastered them again for a 3D release that never happened because they tried doing it and it failed miserably after the first one was released. So they never did it. So those remakes that he did for the 3D version of Star Wars are the ones that Disney Plus is putting out right now on their service. So those were done about a little bit before Disney bought out Lucasfilm for the Star Wars stuff. Yeah, I agree with you, B. Cluet. Star Wars movies are like comic book variant covers now. They change them so fucking often. Is there original cut digitally available somewhere? I have the DVD version of the Laserdisc version, which is the original theatrical release, Stanley, which has the mats where you can see the TIE fighters with the mats behind them, the little blocks and all that stuff. So it doesn't have any of the cleaned up digital stuff. You don't have the TIE fighters in different, or excuse me, the X-Wings in different formations, digitally done, all that kind of stuff. You don't have the stupid ring that pops out when the Death Star explodes, all that kind of stuff. Yeah. But I heard the image is not really HD. No, it wasn't, Stanley. It's not HD, but and yes, the it's a little bit grainier because of the image, because it was literally just copied off a Laserdisc, but supposedly Disney is going to re-release the original theatrical version on DVD or Blu-ray or something like that at some point in time. At least that's what I've heard. But who knows for sure. Yeah. Let's see what else I got here. Sorry for the my throat and everything. I don't know what's going on with this. Crisis on Infinite Earth starts Sunday. Starts tomorrow on the CW, and there's multiple trailers out there right now. One being an extended cut that shows like the death of Superman. We got Brandon Routh as Kingdom Come Superman. We've got Kevin Conroy as Kingdom Come Batman in the entire body suit. The body suit. I'm really actually gonna go and see that. I really want to see that, but of course, excuse me, I'm gonna have to wait until Monday to watch it because you know I'm gonna be doing Mr. Robot and Watchmen. Yeah, yeah, my throat wants something other than whatever this water is. Uh, Brandon, what the? Can't wait for Brandon. Brandon Routh. Sorry. Good God. This has just been one hell of a show so far. One for the record books. Oh, and by the way, if you take a look over at the advent calendar over here, you'll notice that the 16th is circled, or has a little uh more emphasis on it than anything else. It's right there. And the reason for that is the 16th is the 1 year anniversary of the show. That's right. On the 16th, I will have been on this show, this channel for 1 year. Even though I've been on YouTube for a lot longer than that. A lot longer than that. Yeah. So I heard there was a despecialized version somewhere on the web. It might be on YouTube, Stanley. Who knows? Yeah. I have not seen anything on Doom coming out. Yeah, Sven, they are who knows what's going on with that. Yeah. Um, well, it is on a Monday, Viking Bitch, so of course I'm gonna do his Dark Materials as usual. I might do something on Tuesday. Yeah, the day after. I haven't decided as of yet. Morg says we celebrate the 16th. The other time was a learning experience. Okay. I'm very hopeful for Dune. The director is great. Yeah, I'm not really all that hip on this director, Stanley. He's the guy who did Blade Runner 2049, which put me to sleep, and I've tried watching it. Even if I watch 5 minutes of it, I found out it's great for any kind of insomnia I might have. I mean, literally 5 minutes of that movie puts me down. They could use that thing as anesthetic on me. Yeah. I don't know what it is about him, but oh, God. I'm not saying about Dune. I'm talking about Blade Runner 2049 and that director. Oh, yeah. Your taste will oh no. Uh a lot of people are split on 2049. It's a 50-50 camp on that one, Stanley. So that is one of those things that is an agree to disagree on. Yeah. All right, let's see what else I got going on. Oh yeah, this was kind of interesting. So Disney Plus has announced this game show they're going to have on called Star Wars Jedi Temple Challenge. Star Wars Jedi Temple Talent Challenge. And it's supposed to be a kid show where a kid goes through different obstacles to show their strength, knowledge, and bravery. Those are all going to be tested in this show in order to become a Jedi, quote unquote Jedi. It sounds like fun for kids, kind of like what Nickelodeon used to do and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, I think it'll be fun for kids. I don't know so much for adults. Although who knows? You may have those, weirdo Star Wars fans out there, adult Star Wars fans, I should say, that want to have an adult version of the show. I can actually see that happening. Is there be enough clamor for an adult version of the show that they'll actually do one? And then shit's gonna get weird from there. Probably really weird to the point where Disney's gonna go, no, we're not gonna show that show. No, no, and no. Or it could get just so weird that they're like, you know what? We got to show the show because it'll drive up ratings. But Star Wars is for kids. Uh huh. Yeah. Uh, Penn says Jedi Temple Challenge really for kids? Okay, I was forgetting who this is really for. Yeah, yeah, it's kind of funny. Yeah, Disney likes doing stuff for kids for some reason. I don't know why it is. So David Tennant is going to be the latest person to play Phileas Fogg in yet another adaptation of Around the World in 80 Days. Yeah, we don't need any more adaptations. I mean, there are literally like 50 adaptations of Around the World in 80 Days. We really don't need another version of this. Um, can we just move on to something? Is that the 80th version? It might be, Stanley. Actually, I'm thinking it's more along the lines of the 800th version of this book. Speaking of books that just need to be retired, I mean, good God, there are so many books out there. And yes, granted, I still subscribe to what Harlan Ellison said once a long time ago is that yes, there are millions of books out there, but really only, 90% or 98% of them are crap. And he says it's the 2% that you really want to read and have to seek out and find. But you have to go through a lot of crap in order to get to them. And I agree with him on that. There are a lot of crappy books out there. Around the World in 80 Days is not a crappy book. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that fucker needs to be retired because it's been done over and over again. I really don't want it, but Tenant I'll have to watch, is what Penn says. Yeah. I'm pretty sure it's the reason why they hired him on. I wanna say it's a BBC production, so, it'll be very British and proper and all that kind of tally-ho stuff. I wanna say it's, yeah, it's Slim Film and Television plus television. Slim Film plus television is what it's called, which I believe is oh, I'm sorry, it's a French production. So, yeah, Pass Out is supposed to be played by a rising French actor, Abraham Coma. Sorry, there's a couple jokes there I'm not gonna say. Yeah, and it's being adapted by writers including Ashley Farrow from Life on Mars and Caleb Ranson, Child of Mine, which, yes, it's a BBC production. It's a British production. There you have it. It has Tenant 2 in there. Yeah. So the complete opposite end of the spectrum, December 13th, Six Underground with Ryan Reynolds, directed by Michael Bay, releases on Netflix. Now, if you remember what Six Underground is, it's about six billionaires who supposedly fake their own deaths so that they can become vigilantes around the world. That is really what the premise of this movie is all about. Um, I honestly thought it had already come out already. I kind of remember seeing it, I thought, but that might have been in the other universe that I'm not supposed to tell you about. So yeah, yes, exactly, Marks. The Expanse comes out on the 13th as well on Amazon. Yes, but we're talking about Six Underground at the moment. Yeah, I'm gonna see it because, well, one, Ryan Reynolds is in it and it's action. I like seeing him in an action movie. The Hitman's Bodyguard was just fucking funny. It really was, and it had some good action in it too. And so I want to see what he does with this. And also the stupid ship thing where they have an electromagnet inside the ship and people, get attached to walls and whatnot. That just was so over the top ridiculous. I'm like, I need to see it. Yeah. When's the Hitman's Bodyguard 2 coming out? I don't think it's coming out until 2021. Morks. I know they're filming it right now, so maybe it's coming out next year. Who knows? No, I was the one who saw it, Penn, but I think I was in the other universe when it happened. I don't remember offhand. I didn't chastise anybody, Viking bitch. I just said I was in the middle of talking about something. Yeah, that's all it was. Yeah, you guys can be excited about The Expanse. Uh, you're not my punching bag, Marks. That's movie Fanobi's job. He's just not here right now. So yeah, my knuckles are getting itchy. Um, stick to the topic. Yeah, you're Fanobi's stand-in is what you are. You're his stunt double. Sorry, there's a lot of jokes I was gonna say. Fanobi's at work from what I understand. Yeah. Haha, beat you to it. Oh, let's see. So March 2020, we're gonna get a live action Mulan. Yes, from Disney. And it's supposed to hit theaters in March of 2020, which is not that far away. So we finally got a trailer for it. And quite honestly, I really don't like this trend of Disney remaking their animated movies into live action. But I never really got into Mulan. Mulan was kind of like, whatever. But this one actually looks pretty good, to tell you the truth. Um, it's got some actors in there that I didn't know were in it that I want to see. I mean, Hoon Lee is in it. Uh, uh, Jason Scott Lee is in it. He plays a bad guy that's running up the wall and all that kind of stuff. That looked kind of cool. C Ma is in it as well, who's always one of my favorite actors. And I didn't recognize Jet Li. Jet Li plays the Emperor in this one, and he looks completely different. Like He has to have been ill. He had to have been ill at some point, or maybe he still is. I don't know, but yeah, he looks completely different than what I've seen him before. I didn't recognize him as the Emperor. I actually had to go back and take a look at the trailer because of it. So yeah. But yeah, it looks like fun. I don't know if we're getting a animated dragon or what's going on, but yeah, I agree with you, Pen. This does sound like the best of the bunch. That's Disney's model. How many extended, revisited HD 20th anniversary versions of Cinderella have there been? The next phase is live action. Takes true. This is true, Marks. I know they released them for a limited time so people could buy them or whatever, and then they put them in the vault. But now that you have digital out there, which lives forever, supposedly, uh, now they have to rethink their strategy, and so that's what they're doing now. This is their next phase. But yeah, it looks interesting. I might end up having to see that one. Actually, I have a free movie pass that I want to go and see Jojo Rabbit because that's been out for a while now. And speaking of movies, yeah, and I've heard that's good. I just want to go and see it. Um, so here's something interesting. Hulu, of course, has their slate of Marvel animated shows that are coming out. One of them was a Tigra and Dazzler like comedy series. Well, that's been put on hold all of a sudden because the showrunner and the entire writing staff have been fired because of creative differences. Yeah. So they are totally revamping that show completely, which is kind of scary. And if you're keeping track, that means there are now only 4 Hulu shows originally that were under Jeff Loeb that are left. So it's Hellstrom, which is still in development, uh, the Modoc series, which is animated, the Hit Monkey series, which is animated, and the Howard the Duck series, which is animated. I guess you could say 5 because they're supposed to have the Offenders, which is what all those 4 animated shows were supposed to go into. But yeah, that's all that's left over at Hulu. Especially now they got rid of, thank God, Marvel's Runaway. I know Movie Funobi is disappointed, and I know that Viking Mitch was very disappointed when Cloak and Dagger was canceled too. No, Stanley, because that's their last season. Runaways is done. Runaways, that's their last season, Stanley, is season 3. I am so glad about that. I tried watching the second season. I really did. And yeah, Runaways is canceled, Sven. I talked about that either last week or the week before that they got canceled. Anything that had Jeff Loeb on there, Fahey has been killing off. He really has. He's just been going through and systematically wiping everything out. Yeah, the second season was just bullshit. Is really what it was. And you could tell that they really tightened up their money. They tightened the purse string, shall we say, and it was just bad. Viking Bitch says, I was excited that Cloak and Dagger was canceled. I enjoyed that show as much as I enjoyed food poisoning. Yeah, we all did. Yeah, it was a pretty shitty show. Yes, the Cloak and Dagger crossover is still there. It's still in season 3, the final season of Runaways. There we go. What else we got going on here? Oh yeah, I already talked about the Lost in Space season 2, which I am going to cover. And I talked about there was a trailer release for No Time to Die, Daniel Craig's last Bond movie, which comes out on April 2nd of next year, and we got to look at Rami Malek's villain. Sorry, Pepper's having a little nightmare, so she's doing a little chirping over there. That's all. That's what you're hearing in the background. So, Rami Malek's villain was actually in the film, in the trailer, but briefly. We just saw that he had a scarred face, and people are starting to say that he is actually going to be playing Doctor No. That is what everyone's speculating right now because of the way he's dressed and everything. People are speculating that Rami Malek is actually Doctor No, and that would be fairly cool if he was. Uh, yeah, it's gonna be. I'm looking forward to it. I'm a huge fan of Daniel Craig's James Bond movies. This Bond movie will probably destroy your masculinity. Why is that, Stanley? Because of the female 007 that's in there, or whatever? Everyone, I swear to God, man, there's this whole thing about remaking movies with female leads and then people getting upset about it and getting all butthurt and whatnot. We're going to look back on this in 5 years, and some people are going to be really embarrassed about the way they acted during this time, and a lot of us are just going to laugh at them. That's pretty much like kind of like I'm doing now. Yeah, because all the usual suspects get into a rage already. It's so stupid. I know it really is. It's just a fucking movie, really. I hope people will be embarrassed about how they're act no, they probably won't. They'll probably just blow it off and go, "I was in the right." Yeah, you certainly are. Yes, that was a joke. Um, Sven says, "No problem with the female 007 as long as it's a good movie." She's actually gonna be in the movie, Sven, and she's not gonna be 007 for long, but, yeah. But, what's her name? Broccoli, Barbara Broccoli, who is the producer, is not keen on having a female 007. So I don't think that's gonna happen. They're winning the war on Hollywood, I know. Uh, Actually, Stanley, there are how shall I say this delicately? There are some groups out there that have been working to spread, misinformation amongst, regular mainstream media by saying that, their source has found whatever, and they're trying to get this, and they've been successful a couple of times in tricking mainstream media into promoting their unsubstantiated rumors and shit that they've been putting out there. I'm not going to say which channels and groups out there have been doing that, but yeah, I've seen them. I've been tracing them, quite honestly, tracking them. Just because whenever I actually deleted an article today because I found out that it was uh, a rumor of a rumor from one of the places that it uh, is on my shit list of never to use any information from that page, and I had it on my page and I deleted it. I wish I could be more specific about it, but it was when I was putting together all my topics here. Because honestly, it would have been a one of my lead stories. So essentially, what it was about Henry Cavill being replaced as Superman. That WB was supposedly looking at another actor, and they had named an actor, someone I had never heard of in my life, but he looked a lot like Henry Cavill. It was reported by a semi-reputable site, and then they had referenced another site. And then when I clicked on it, it went to a site that's on my blacklist. And they had no substantiated other than we heard from a source. And it's like, yeah, okay, great. So your barista at Starbucks had a source that the dog that they were walking knew about. You've heard me go into this before, but yeah. Will you review The Witcher now that you're talking about Henry Cavill? Yes, I will. Works. I don't know how I'm going to do it. I'm actually going to watch some of it first since Netflix drops it all at once. So yeah. I might do it as a, is it worth my time? Or I might do it as an entire, episode by episode. Depends on what I think about it. It's hard. It's really hard to do those ones that they drop them all at once. But it's fantasy, Dennis. You'll probably hate it. Not necessarily. We'll see. We'll see what happens. Yeah, the binge model really needs to go away. I'm not a fan of it. And quite honestly, look at The Mandalorian. So if the binge model works for people, why is The Mandalorian generating so much fucking buzz? Why is Disney Plus adding on more and more subscribers? Because they have a good show out there that they're releasing once a week. I mean, I'm so glad that DC Universe is doing the same thing. Yes, we're getting one episode a week of a half-hour animated show, Harley Quinn, by the way, which is fucking funny. I would have binged the shit out of that thing if it was dropped all at once, and then I would have forgotten about it completely. But having it every week coming out, you're getting buzz about it. You're getting people talking about it. You're getting people wanting to have your product out there. That's why you have people clamoring to have Baby Yoda under the Christmas tree. Yeah. Stanley Trill says, if you have only one new show on your service, you better not don't drop everything at once. So they don't have just one new show, Stanley. They have a couple of new shows. That's the one that's getting the love right now. DC Universe, on the other hand, only has one new show at the moment. Yeah. Mark says, I like the binge model. I forget details on the week by week. That's why you have me, Marks, is so I can remind you about all the details week by week. Yeah. You run into lulls when you can blaze the most interesting things for yourselves. Uh, True, B Cluet. I agree with you. Like right now, I binge the shit out of Silicon Valley. Granted, I came in late on it, and I'm up to season 5 right now. When did I start? Last weekend? I think I started last weekend. That's exactly what I'm here for, Viking bitch. I'm nothing else. Anything new on DC streaming future? Yeah, we have Stargirl coming out in January. And then I don't know what's coming out after that, to tell you the truth. I know Doom Patrol I think Doom Patrol comes out after Stargirl, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah. And then I don't know what comes out after that. Who knows if they're still going to be around, DC Universe, if they're not going to fold that into HBO Max or not. Yeah. But I know Stargirl is supposed to be January of 2020. They haven't released a date yet. They haven't released a trailer yet either. But it is supposed to also come out concurrently on CW. Yeah. Well, they already have Penn. They've already greenlit season 2 of Doom Patrol. They're already the writers' room has been kind of vocal on Twitter, which is nice. And they've also got they did a Baby Yoda meme as well for their own show. I love the way they kind of worked in Doom Patrol. It was pretty damn funny. They did Baby Yoda sipping from a Doom Patrol mug. Yes, and Future Man has its last season on Hulu. That's right. That's about the only reason why I'm going to sign up for Hulu is just to do the last season of Future Man, and then I'm done with Hulu. Yes, Doom Patrol is fucking awesome. I can't wait for Future Man though. I want to see how they're going to wrap things up. Yeah, I know Hulu had the $2 a month offer. I'm paying for everything else at the moment, and I'm I was thinking about dropping Netflix until they decided to dump all this stuff on their streaming service. Yeah, I know the soup slurping meme is now replacing Kermit sipping his tea, you know. Yeah. I will use someone else's account to watch Future Man. They pissed me off, is what Viking bitch said. Well, yeah, if they charge you $58. I don't blame you. I have the commercials too, usually when I do that, Sven. I just, don't need to have it all the time. I'll send you my Hulu then for being so nice with the Titans poster. No, 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 you don't need to do that, Morks. But make sure you display that Titans poster. I want to see pictures of it when it goes up in your house. And make sure you put it someplace nice and pretty with some good lighting. Get some good pictures of it. Yeah. What else I got here? That's right. I saved the best for last. You know what came out this week? We've been talking about it a little bit here and there. The Boys season 2 trailer. Yes, Amazon did take it down for a couple of places, but they also, put it back up again yesterday. It was kind of a weird thing. Um, so yeah, it's pretty fucking awesome. I don't know. It was kind of a blur of images that we had on there, but I'm looking forward to season 2, of course. Season 1 was just batshit crazy. Season 2 looks like it's gonna be more of the same. And yeah, it's it's gonna be hard to wait. It comes out again around Comic-Con time, so around June, July, somewhere around there. Uh-huh. Yeah. Yeah, the Boys is just special. It really is. What did Stanley Burn Titans? No, no, no. So, okay, the story behind that Titans poster, when I was at Comic-Con, this last Comic-Con, DC Universe or yeah, the DC booth actually had, or I should say the Warner Brothers booth had this thing. If you had DC Universe on your phone, um you could log in every day and you got a special barcode, or you got a QR code, I should say. You go to the Warner Brothers booth and they scanned your code so they knew who was checking in and all that kind of stuff. And they gave you a poster. So for 4 days, they had four different posters. Um, they had Swamp Thing, which was awesome. Of course, they canceled that. They had Titans, as you saw there. They had Young Justice, and then I forget what the fourth one was. Oh, Doom Patrol. That's right, the Doom Patrol one. And I had gotten 3 out of the 4, so I was going in to pick up, uh yeah, Titans was the first one I picked up. I was going in to pick up the last one, which was Young Justice, if I remember correctly. No, yeah, it was Young Justice, and the guy behind the booth, because I had my shit already ready to go and everything while everyone else was fumbling with theirs, he's like, "Hey, I see you got 3 out of the 4." He goes, "You missed the Doom Patrol one." And I'm like, "Yeah," I said I didn't know about it until the day after. And he's like, "Hold on a sec." And he goes back into they have this little closet that's there uh in their um setup that they had. And he comes back and he actually grabbed me one of the Doom Patrol posters. And I was like, fuck yeah, man, thanks. And I mean, it was the last day, it was Sunday and everything. And it's just less for him to carry out there. So, and the thing is, a lot of stuff like that does happen at Comic Con. The last days, people do not want to carry that shit back out. Actually, it's not packing it back out. What you have to do is when you are packing up, so you have to pack up your stuff at your location of where you are, shrink wrap it, and then have the Teamsters, because this is part of their deal. The Teamsters have to take it out to the loading dock, drop it off by your car, and then they unwrap it for you, and then you have to load up your truck again. So it's kind of like loading twice when you're getting out for the last day there. And you have to be up by a certain time. And of course, everyone wants to get out at the same time. So yeah, it's Sven says, sadly, some of Titan's episodes were good, just no consistency. Yeah. There was another article that popped up this morning about how Titan season 3 was finally going to get the team correct this time around, and I didn't have the heart to read the article, to tell you the truth. Yeah. Yeah, exactly, Viking bitch. It is a very big pain in the ass, and that's why you're giving away shit. That's why you hear of 80% discounts on graphic novels and things like that, is because people do not want to load that shit up. Even if they're taking it at a loss, it's you want to get the fuck out of there as fast as possible. I remember when we were doing the booth, there, and yeah, it just got to the point where last day, you're in the last hour, maybe 2 or something like that, and someone comes by and says, "I'll give you $80 on a $200 item." Okay, how about 100? No, 80 is the best I can do. 85? Okay, sure. There you go. Get the fuck out of here. But that is the nature of that gig. And yeah, and then there's no lights out in the parking lot either, really, and you're loading in the dark. It's really just a pain in the ass. So stupid union rules work in your favor at Comic-Con. If you're a buyer, yes, Stanley. That's why you always wait until the very, very, very last minute if you want to get something, as long as it's not something that's going to sell out very quickly. Like if you need, I don't know, say one of the booths out there, you don't go to the image booth for this, of course. If you want the Walking Dead, the first compendium of the Walking Dead, right? And you got Mile High Comics, which of course you don't want to go to them, or you don't want to go to the bigger ones. You want to go to one of the smaller booths out there that have a lot of shit still on their shelves, and they have Walking Dead, the first compendium there. You can cut them a deal, and they'll give it to you because it's one less big ass book that they have to pack away. Yeah. Yeah, it is thick and heavy, exactly. I'm just using it as an example, Stanley. It's usually something that's not gonna sell out for you don't wanna get you're not gonna get a Comic-Con exclusive or something like that for cheap. Just doesn't work that way. But if it's something that's older that you want, that's also pricey. I mean, I think I went to 2000 AD and I was on the last day I went there, and I wanted to get, Trooper, the first, volume of Trooper, and they had a deal where you get 3 books. Yeah, it was 3 books for $10 is what it was. And I mean, I got some thick ass books for $10. That was actually a pretty good deal. But that's what he said. Uh-huh, Morks. You notice how I just kind of ignored that for a little bit and just let it ride and let it become awkward between us until said time. So I'm at the end here. I don't have any more news. What do you guys want to talk about? You know, it's raining here. I'm not going anyplace for a little while anyway. Till, the barbecue thing doesn't start until 12, and it takes me a little while to get there, and it's, only 10:19. So what do I have going on? So tomorrow is Watchmen and Mr. Robot. Actually, Mr. Robot and Watchmen. That's how it goes in that order. Excuse me. Monday is his Dark Materials. Tuesday I'm off. Wednesday I'm off. Thursday I'm off. And Friday I come back for the double header of The Mandalorian and Harley Quinn. Then we come all the way back around again to Saturday morning blast off. And yes, I understand that the Expanse comes out on Friday. I'll probably be doing an episode on Saturday afternoon, and then I'll move it over to Wednesdays is where I'm going to do the episodes on that one. Yes, Wednesdays is what I'm thinking. So, any new theories on who the third personality for Mr. Robot is? I don't know, Pen. I've given up. It's so convoluted now. I am I'm just riding it out to see how it is. Stanley says, "I'm so curious how Mr. Robot will end. I hope it's not sci-fi because Dennis is wrong." You know it's sci-fi, Stanley, and I'm gonna laugh and laugh so hard when that happens. You want to give your opinion about the recent Star Wars leaks? Which one's Morks? There's been like 50 of them, and half of them are from. Actually, I should say a good 90% of them are from disreputable sites that are actually just trying to sow misinformation out there. Anything from "We got this covered" in heroic Hollywood is bullshit. So I'll tell you that right now. Allegedly, yeah, and it's mainly because they're trying to discredit this stuff. They're trying to get as much. So what I found out what their agenda is basically they're trying to get out as much misinformation as possible, so it discredits all the information that's going out there, and they are pumping this out to reputable news reporting agencies. I mean, I think Variety's gotten hit by it now. Who else did? Hollywood Reporter actually picked up one too for a second before they realized it, and that's what ends up happening is they're literally trying to throw out as much misinformation as possible to make it sound like it's plausible, and then of course these other larger news sites report it, and then it becomes, supposedly news, and then it gets found out that it's not, and having to be retracted. It's just really stupid. That's why I always look at where the source comes from. If it just says from an undisclosed source, I'm like, yeah, that's bullshit. I've got undisclosed sources too. It's called my ass. God, I don't know what the hell that was. And it wasn't my ass. Yes, Robot season 4 is really fucking excellent so far. Yeah. So are we gonna see you in the chat for Mr. Robot Viking bitch or what? I know it's kind of late for you, and it's on a Sunday. It's kind of late. Penn says she's leaning more towards her father without the hat as opposed to Mr. Robot. Hmm. Yeah, it could be. Yeah, it's just a tumor. Sadly, I cannot watch it before you review it. Then, yeah, sorry, Stanley. I know I watch it early because otherwise I'd be up till 11 to 12, somewhere around there, and there'd be no viewers, quite honestly. I I am so surprised at how many viewers I have for that video, that show. What was it, Penn? Did we have something like almost 100 people at one point in the chat? I can't remember on one of them. I think it was somewhere around there. It was crazy. Yeah. And not everyone's talking. They're just sitting there. They're listening, and it's really kind of weird, you know. Um, yeah, it was 98. I knew it was close to 100. And I know I was looking at it. So I look at the metrics afterwards, and I saw it had bumped up at one point to like 148 views within that hour. So and then it bumps up again to like 300 views the next hour. Yeah. No, I'm just forgetting you every now and then, Stanley. That's all. And Morks, I'll never forget you because you're the secondary punching bag. Yeah. No, it's good though. It's a lot of fun. Like I said, it's very weird. It really is weird. I never expected that show to take off the way it did. I thought it was still kind of more niche for the most part. And then having people all of a sudden kind of go, "Holy fuck, you're the only person who's actually talking about this. I want to talk about it, but no one else is watching the show." And I kind of find that hard to believe. One, that people aren't doing that, and that they aren't covering the show as much as they should be. And two, that I understand that people out in the real world aren't watching the show either. It's the numbers are good, but they're not great, and it's the last season, so that's fine. Yes, I do take a look at ratings and things like that too. Speaking of ratings, so everyone's giving me shit about Watchmen. That Watchmen's really good. So HBO is trying to spin Watchmen as a great show that is catching on in popularity. What did they say? I was just reading an article last week about it because I was trying to figure out the rating system on it, and they the article was saying that they've got 7.1 million viewers, and I was like, all right, is that per episode? No, it's 7.1 million viewers total when you add them up over the weeks of stuff. They really only have about 700,000 viewers a week for Watchmen. So it's not a good ratings grab, by the way. It really isn't. Um, Speaking of HBO, Edmilson Henrique, I'm going to murder your name. I'm sorry. If Mr. Robot was on HBO, do you think it would have had more of an audience? Um, that's a good question. It might have, to tell you the truth. It might have. I know USA Network, not a lot of people get it sometimes. It might not be part of their package. Plus, you have, yeah, I would say yes. You would have had more of an audience because a lot of people are cord cutting, so you're not getting USA Network unless you are subscribed to a cable channel or a streaming cable service or something like that. Um, because of course the USA Network is owned by Universal, NBC Universal, which is NBC, and they would, you have to sign in, and you have to have a service provider in order to sign into their not their website, but their app that they have in order to watch it. And yes, I agree with you, Stanley. It is a weird show for USA. It, but USA actually had taken risks on other shows too, so I think that was fine. And yes, Sven, I agree with you. That whole thing going back to Watchmen was a misleading metric when they were saying 7.1 million viewers. And then people in the comment section of that article just started pounding them on it, going, uh, you mean 7.1 million viewers total when you add everything up over the last 5 episodes, including DVRs and all that kind of stuff. So it wasn't all at once. It was, you're getting on a weekly average, and it's been dropping actually quite a bit. Um, about 700,000 viewers to 500 to 700,000 viewers is what you're getting on Watchmen, which isn't good. That is not a good sign. Same thing for His Dark Materials. His Dark Materials has been taking a shit, quite honestly. I know that over in Great Britain, across the pond from us, it's doing a lot better. But then again, it's a British TV series that's playing for free, so over there, whereas we're paying for it over here. And I'm seeing the numbers even on my videos. My recaps of it are tanking. Sometimes they're just double digits. That's what happens. Hey, Jody. I have discussed the latest Mandalorian episode, Jody. It's up on my site. It's up there. Penn Farm Girl says it may have even done better on Sci-Fi, but then it would have been canceled after season 1. Yeah, it wouldn't have made. Uh, Again, I'm glad they didn't put it on Sci-Fi, even though again that's owned by NBC Universal as well. Sven says the trend is the better predictor and it is declining. Exactly. I hate getting into the math of it, but sometimes I have to because I have to figure out whether or not I want to keep it. So I'm keeping Watchmen. People are wondering why you don't like the show. Why are you still covering it? There's stuff I do like about the show, and then there's other stuff that just fucking irritates the shit out of me. And that's why I am still covering it. And I'm not doing it to piss people off, quite honestly. I'm not hate watching it. It's I kind of know where they're going with this. It's not hate watching. I am giving out some merit on some of the stuff, but also I want to know where they're going with some of this stuff. I want to see how it ends, quite honestly. And if I'm proven wrong, I will admit that I've been proven wrong on some stuff. But if it ends like how I think it's going to end, it's going to piss off a shitload of people. And it's not going to see a season two. Yeah. Stanley Tweedle says the production company anonymous content is a real plus for all shows. If they produce something, my interest will be peaked. Yeah, exactly. That same thing with me. I see anonymous content and I'm like, I'm there. Henrique says, I hope Mr. Robot gets more people to watch it when Amazon puts the rest of season 4 there. Yeah, I'm fairly sure that's going to happen. I mean, it's an amazing show. It really is. How do I think Watchmen's going to end, Viking Bitch? So, Lady True, these are spoilers, by the way, in case you want to plug your ears. I'll give you a second. La 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 la. There you go. Lady True is Vite's daughter. She is the one that's imprisoned him, and she is actually working on stealing Dr. Manhattan's powers. Is what's going on. That's why she's working with the cavalry, and she is going to fuck over Keen, who is the head of the cavalry at the moment. And they gave us they pretty much put it in our face and waved it in our face when we saw the cavalry using Lady True's technology in order to build the gate that's supposed to be trapping Dr. Manhattan. So yeah, and so Vite coming back is going to stop his daughter at some point and save the day and basically actually save the planet this time around instead of causing harm in order to save the planet that way. Yeah. See ya, Morks. So yeah, that's how I think it's going to happen, and Dr. Manhattan's going to go fuck off again to wherever he goes. Jody says, yeah, evidently we got this covered. It's pretty much like a tabloid style type. Yeah, it is. There are some people who you might know that feed information to them too. That's all I'm going to say. Because I keep seeing their name routinely pop up and we got this covered articles. Yeah. That's what kind of brought my attention to them and others. Something is better than the Inhumans? Slightly. But yeah, like I said, if it kind of goes that way, because it's gonna go really fast in the last 2 episodes, and it's gonna piss off a lot of people. There's gonna be a lot of apologists for it too that are gonna go, well, that was awesome. That was spectacular. I want another bite of the shit sandwich. And those are the people that already like Damon Lindelof's crappy writing. Yeah. I know, I just don't get it. uh Yeah, I was explaining it to somebody on in the comment section. At first, someone was trying to tell me that I was having a problem with race on that one. And I'm like, no, that's not it. I'm having a problem with the way you're using a property in order to get your other story told. Excuse me, because your other story wouldn't hold its own muster without being covered in Watchmen or covered by Watchmen, I should say. If you check the Pedia, I know, really. So if you watch this other 2-hour long video to explain the half-hour long show, you'll get it that way. And it fills you in on everything else. And then also within that 2-hour movie, there is a QR code which will take you to a link to do a couple of behind the scene things that we didn't have time to add in. So it explains even more to you about the show. I've always said this, if you can't get your point across in the fucking show or the movie, don't put out another stupid little, half hour video or web page or something like that that I have to do homework on in order to find out what you meant by, what is it? I was just watching um Silicon Valley, and Gavin says he's getting ready to leave for a couple of days, and he's squeezing some honey into his tea, and the honey bear is sticky, and he's like, God damn, it's sticky. So he's leaving, and the people that that are on the board that are around him, he says, like, hey, I'm leaving for a couple of days. The the presentation looks good. He goes, I'm just going to clear my head. And they're like, is there anything you want us to do before you leave? And he goes, uh the bear is sticky, get rid of it, is what he says. And they're like, okay. And he gets into the car and they leave, and they're like, what the fuck is that? What did he mean by that? What do you mean the bear is sticky? Get rid of it. And so they kind of break into two different religious groups almost at some point because the word of Gavin. And that's how I kind of feel this shit is. It's like, you have to keep digging into other stuff in order to find out what a show means or something like that. And then somebody says something cryptic and you have to actually it just doesn't make any sense. If you can't say what the fuck it is in the show or the movie, then don't make it. Don't make it until you have it figured out. You don't want to do a first draft, which a lot of people are doing. JJ Abrams. JJ Abrams, paging JJ Abrams. Yeah. That dude, that motherfucker. Episode 7. Yeah, episode 7, he had no script. He literally had no script. They didn't have a new trilogy mapped out as to where it was going, obviously, because Rian ran with some shit on his own and screwed a whole bunch of stuff up. And now episode 9, um, what was it I heard that made me laugh was that he's gonna have the backstory of some minor character be part of episode 9. And I can't remember what the backstory was now. And that one was actually a reputable story. That was a reputable rumor. It actually came from J.J. Abrams' mouth during an interview with Variety, if I remember correctly. And I want to say it was like Wicket or something like that. And I started laughing. So now I'm saying, so RJ71, the mouse droid from episode 4, is going to have a 35-minute long backstory that they're going to put into episode 9 in order to explain what happened during his time between that and where we're at now, because it makes sense to do that. Yeah, be Clue it. If you guys have tickets to that thing, you might want to see if you can get money back on it and just go and see the earlier show. Yes, he is doing backstories on a minor character. That was my, yeah, the mouse droid, the hair dryer, yeah. Um, Stanley Trail says, with Mr. Robot, I started to prefer to go with the flow, no going down the rabbit hole needed. Yeah. I agree with you. Yeah, Jody says, "Yeah, it sounds like a pretty crappy way of approaching storytelling. It takes time and effort to write a story. Going all improv jazz on it really won't cut it, right?" Exactly, and that's why this mystery box shit has been the most hurtful thing to TV to come around in a long time. Quite honestly, it's writing. You have a whole bunch of cool things that you want to put in, but you don't know how to tie them together. And that's what we call brainstorming in the real world, is you brainstorm what you want to have, and then you boil it down in drafts until you actually have something right. You don't just go, "Oh, I want to put this in," and you just put it in. "Oh, I want to put that in," and you just put it in. Yeah. You need to actually craft out a story. You'll just wait for the reviews. Yeah, I don't have ticket spot either. I honestly just don't care. The Mandalorian comes out that week. So, yes, Jody, he is going to waste time doing a backstory on a minor character instead of focusing on the main characters. Yeah. And I was saying the same thing. I'm like, okay, you're ending basically what you're doing is you're supposed to be doing the ending for a 40-year-old movie is what you're doing. 40 plus year old movie, 42-year-old movie. Um, why are you wasting time on this? Quite honestly, you should be bringing in George Lucas and saying, "Hey, how the fuck do you want me to end this?" And see what he wants. I mean, granted, it's probably not the best idea, but you can filter it a bit. But still, bring him in, bring in the guy who actually made up all this shit to begin with, boil it down, and then spend some time writing it. Hopefully, with some better writers in the room than you are. Stanley Trail says, "I know now Mr. Robot will end with everyone meeting in a non denominational church saying goodbye to each other." Probably. B. Cluet says it would be rather interesting if they shoehorn Wally type story for that droid. Jody says Blake Snyder wrote a brilliant book on how to write a screenplay called Save the Cat. Maybe JJ should read that before doing more movies. He won't. So JJ also got his son a gig at Marvel Comics writing a Spider-Man comic, which was basically a plot that had been done before. And I'm sitting there just kind of looking at this going, really? Really? Yeah, I'm not happy with the person. Jody says, that's just it. Didn't Lucas have treatments for episodes 7 to 9, but Iger Disney threw those to the trash? Yeah, they did. Plus, they made all the extended universe stuff. They said it wasn't canon anymore, so they could steal from it, and then they don't use it to its ability. So yeah. So speaking of Star Wars, also I forgot to mention. So someone was telling me that at the very end of the Mandalorian, the person that we see walking towards Fennec's body, or her, yeah, her body, is supposed to be Boba Fett. I don't think it's Boba Fett myself. I still think he's stuck in the Sarlacc pit, and you know, rotting. But it could be Giancarlo's character, as Mufanui was talking about in the chat or in the comment section there, who's tracking the Mandalorian. I just wanted to get that out of the way because it just popped in my mind all of a sudden. Yeah, I know, nepotism in Hollywood. Who would have thought, huh? So yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I agree with you, Pen. It wasn't Boba Fett. The costume was all wrong. Jody says, and that's not even counting the expanded universe comics and games. They had such a ton of possible resources to mine for ideas, but they didn't, and they went with JJ's mystery. But yeah, Kathleen Kennedy has an article out there for an interview where she said it's very hard coming up with Star Wars stories because they just don't come out of thin air. It's not like we have any place to draw from. And everyone who's a Star Wars fan went, "What the fuck? You have 40 years worth of games, books, comics, video games, all that kind of stuff to draw from. And yet you're telling me there is nothing to draw from in order to come up with any of these stories." Yeah. B. Cluett says, I just assumed the person who walked up on the assassin was her contact in Moss Eisley. Yeah, it could be. Yeah. Stanley Tweedle says jingling spurs was a little odd. There's no horses in Star Wars. Oh wait. Yeah, so Boba Fett supposedly makes that sound, makes that jingle. That's why that was supposed to be there. Jody says, "Oh, that if what if that's another Mandalorian character entirely like Sabine or someone else?" I don't think we're going to see Sabine. Uh, I know they have plans for Sabine and Ahsoka. I've heard this before that because of how Rebels ended, that's not the ending, of course. They're going to go on, and there are some plans. That's what I've heard. But of course, I don't have any kind of backing on that, so I can't say how right that is or not. Pen Farm Girl, it's the old rule: stay silent and let people think you're stupid instead of opening your mouth and proving it. Exactly. Okay, so Boba Fett confirmed. Not really. No. Old Samuel Clemens had it right. Yes, he did. Actually, that is a old Confucius saying, if I remember correctly. Um, it is better to be silent and thought of an idiot than to open one's mouth and remove all doubt. Is what the old proverb is. Yes. There's gems like that throughout history, by the way. Because obviously there's been some idiots that are been in the past as well. And the female Mandalorian that was featured earlier, what if she's Bo-Katan, Duchess Satine's sister? I don't think she is, Jody. Yeah, I don't think she's Duchess Satine. So we don't know what happened to Mandalore. We don't know if it still exists. Uh, we don't know if it's been wiped off the face of the galaxy, off the maps, if you will. All we know is what we're seeing of this one clan, I guess you could say. We don't even know if it's a clan. I still say that they're part of Death Watch. That's what I'm thinking. And I don't think Duchess Satine's sister is a member of Death Watch anymore. It would be nice. It'd be kind of cool. Mark Twain was quoting It's an old saying, Jody. It really is. But yeah, that rough paraphrasing. That's what it was. It was I think even Aesop used that. Uh, Aesop's fables use that exact same wisdom, I guess you could say. Mark Twain said so many things. So that whole thing about the coldest winter or the coldest winter he ever spent was a summer in San Francisco. I think I read it at one point. I know they said he never said it, but he used to write a weekly column in the paper, and I remember reading about him going out to the Cliff House across what would become later on Golden Gate Park. So Golden Gate Park is built on what used to be sand dunes. and he's riding out early in the morning under, he said, 3 horsehair blankets because it was so fucking cold out. Because he's going up before the sun's coming up to go out to the cliff house and have coffee because supposedly it's supposed to be a magical time when the sun's coming up, even though the sun's coming up behind you, not in front of you at the cliff house because you're on the West Coast, by the way. And he's just complaining about the bitter cold throughout this entire article about going out there. And it was within that article, if I remember correctly, that's when he uttered those words, or when he wrote those words. I took a couple of San Francisco history classes back in the day. There's a lot of really interesting stuff that's out there. So, uh, well, I guess we'll find out. Wouldn't mind if she was an entirely new character. Yeah, they seem to be kind of Death Watch esque. Yeah. Well, this little dude over here, by the way, who is the Mandalorian, the heavy, the heavy gunner Mandalorian, is named Paz Vizsla. And if that name rings a bell at all, Pre Vizsla was the guy who took over Mandalore with Darth Maul in Star Wars: The Clone Wars, and was voiced by Jon Favreau in the series. Paz Vizsla as well, which was a different spelling of Vizsla, by the way, was also voiced by Jon Favreau. So take of that what you will. Yeah. And by the way, Star Wars Rebels, or Star Wars Clone Wars and Star Wars Rebels, both are canon. They are Star Wars canon because it happened under Disney's watch. There you go. Stanley Tweedle, wasn't she also a ship's captain? One of those ships that went up and down the Mississippi? Uh, I don't know who you're talking about. I don't know, since he was not on the curriculum in my country. Oh, yes, he was a ship's captain. I take that back. Mark Twain. Yes, he was a ship's captain at one point. Yes, he did go up and down the Mississippi. Sorry, I blanked for a second. I don't know why. All right. So, excuse me. I've hit the hour and almost 40-minute mark here. So, I'm probably going to let you guys go so I can go and stand out in the rain and get my barbecue, my beer. Mark Twain is a boat saying, what? Okay. um, if you like what you see here, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. If you're still on the fence about joining up, you're going to see the very end of this video, a video pop up here. Basically, what YouTube does, it takes the algorithms of all the stuff you've been watching, tries to match those algorithms to one of my videos and pops it up there just for you. Up here is going to be Harley Quinn. Now I'll put the Mandalorian. I'll put the Mandalorian up here. There we go. Let's see what else. If you want to know when I'm going to be on live again next, you can hit the bell down below there. It's 50 chance of YouTube actually notifying you if I'm on. You can go to my website, suspenderfanimation.com. Take a look at the schedule up there. It's also on my Facebook page. I have a Twitter and Instagram, and I also have a Patreon page. I don't have any tier set as yet, but I will at the end of this year, beginning of next year. There we go. Do you have any theories, though, for the show's direction? So is Paz Vizsla related to Pre Vizsla? I don't know if the Vizslas are related or not. There is a clan Vizsla. We know that from Star Wars Clone Wars. So he could have been a distant relative, but it's a different spelling too. Do I have any theories though for the show's direction? I don't. I'm just watching it like everyone else, letting it go. And because everything comes back to Star Trek, Mark Twain was in Next Generation with Guinan. Oh God, don't remind me. That was horrible. I will explain the next Mark Twain discussion. All right. Wouldn't the name be changed to Post Vizsla after Stanley? Stanley, no. That was bad. Yeah. All other links at beginning of stream. Yeah. I don't know if I would call that wit, Jody. Also, I wouldn't encourage him. It just makes him, keep doing it. That's all. If you hit him with a rolled up wet newspaper, though, I heard that works. But he likes it a little too much too. Hey, kiddo, you came in just at the end. So, Morks, if I don't hear anything from Hannah Ford by tomorrow night, that poster's yours. It's coming out to you. And Sven, send me your address, because I got something for you too. Yeah. All right, everybody. Tomorrow again is going to be Mr. Robot and Watchmen. Monday is going to be his Dark Materials. Friday is going to be The Mandalorian and Harley Quinn. And then Saturday, we come back to Saturday morning blast off. And then Saturday evening, and next Saturday, is going to be The Expanse, episode 1. Yes, that is how I'm doing that one. And then we'll see where it lands after that. What day? It's probably going to be Wednesdays, but we'll see. Yes, I've been doubling up quite a bit on some of these days here. It's been fun. I've actually been dropping recaps on some of these things and just going with reviews, and it's been a little easier on me on that. That way, I don't have to take so many notes and get carpal tunnel and hand cramps and all that kind of stuff. No, DP means something else, Stanley. Completely. Hey, Mark Maginot, you just arrived to say goodbye. Nice. Watch the old live streams in the archives to catch up. Yeah. So, with that said, I'm going to go out and get some barbecue and beer out in the rain. You guys have a good rest of your day. Thank you, everybody who joined me today in the chat. Thank you if you made it this far in the video. And I will see you all tomorrow for Mr. Robot and Watchmen. Thank you, everybody. Right, carpal tunnel from notes. Thanks, Viking bitch. Quiet you. And go clean that love nest. Thank you, everybody, for joining. I will see you tomorrow. Until then, don't let the door hit your ass on the way out. Otherwise, you may end up becoming the subject of somebody's half-baked rumor monger website, which isn't good. Thanks, everyone. Have a good rest of your day.